Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today for another episode of Financial First Aid. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Priya Kumar. The name of her company is Pivot to Profit. Priya has, for over 10 years, experience helping businesses resolve millions of dollars in debt. As an employee, she didn't feel like she was doing enough. She was always working in the best interests of the company, but she wanted to do more. She wanted to work in the best interests of small business owners. She wanted to help them understand their finances so that they don't end up with millions of dollars in debt. And that's really what Financial First Aid is all about, helping bankrupt entrepreneurs go from broke to bank. Um, Having reviewed thousands of financials over the years, one thing was clear: most business owners had no clue where their money was going. So she created Pivot My Profit to help small business owners establish a healthier relationship with their money and build a strong foundation. She wants her clients to achieve financial freedom, security, and joy. I love the joy part. Welcome, Priya. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, what's the primary focus of your company? I think I've already kind of explained it, but I like to hear my audience would like to hear it in your words.
And that you explained it very well. That is my primary focus. It's really helping people understand money. And it's in their business or even in their personal lives, because it's really not that different. A lot of entrepreneurs are married to their business and they have become one. And the problem with that is when you become one, then you treat your expenses, your finances, your income, everything as just one. But when it comes to your business, you want to keep it your business and yourself. And your business needs to be able to fund your life. And because your life is going to move forward either way, whether your business is there or not. But if your life, if your personal income and all that is trying to fund your business, eventually both is going to go down. And so that's what my focus is really when I coach entrepreneurs. I really show them how to diversify their funds and how to look at profit in their business, because you want your business to be able to fund your life, raise your family, because you are devoting your time into your business. And there are so many entrepreneurs who really don't pay themselves much because their business is not making enough money. And because they don't have really an understanding of finances and they don't really have a relationship with money, they kind of don't look at that part. They try to focus on other areas like, okay, maybe I need to change my products or modify something with my product line or whatever it may be, right? Or they'll try to focus on maybe I need to do more marketing, or maybe I need to hire more people, or I need to have more products, or a lot more variety of products. But if you're not looking at your finances and really looking at the areas that are being affected, you're not really able to make the right decision for your business, because you could be trying to spend money on your bringing in more products, but you may only have a product that's doing really well, and you need to just leave it alone. Sometimes your marketing could be on point, but you're thinking it maybe it's the marketing, but then now you're changing something that does not need to be changed. So having clarity of how money is moving throughout your organization, it really gives you that bird's eye view of the different areas and what is it that's really struggling, like which wheel is about to fall off that you need to tighten the screws on.
Wow, I like that metaphor. um, and so, what kind of motivated you to start your own business?
When I was, over 10 years, just looking at finances and talking to other businesses, and because I worked as a business investigator, so my approach was always going in as a student. I always wanted to be like, okay, well, the reason I'm talking to you is because this has what has taken place, this has what transpired for this action to take place, and I really want to understand what happened, what
So,
went
what
with the business.
So
So I will
excuse me for 1 second. What's a business investigator? I like that word. What's a business investigator? What's that?
so this is mostly like financial wise. So with the government, especially here in California, they have different departments. They have the income tax department and they have the business tax department. What a lot of people don't know about California is that we have 36 different taxes and fees for different types of businesses. One business is not paying all of it, but that's the number that we have. And it continues to increase because we are like a green state and all of that. And most people will say California is so hard to do business in because of the rules and regulations and everything that we have in place. And when your accountant is filing your report and whatnot, you're not aware of what are all these different things and what the different requirements are. Everyone is given the paperwork that you're supposed to read, but who's really going to read, right? We don't understand any of those legal jargons anyway. So the investigation part of it comes in when something has occurred for the state to be like, there is something not right here. It's not consistent or something has changed drastically. So the whole point of it is education, but they also then catch fraud and all that other stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I always went in as an educator, like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's going to happen if it's not changed, modified, improved, or whatever it is that you need to do at this point. Mm-hmm. And so I always took of that educator role. But I could only extend myself so far to help them and guide them, right? Mm-hmm. So, in my experience, I always went in like, okay, this is why I'm calling you. This is what's happening. This is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just ask them their side of the story. How did you get in this position? What happened? Mm-hmm. And most of them will say, I didn't know. Or, I file everything with my accountant and they take care of everything. And that's the issue there because they don't understand mm-hmm. what's going on and where the money is going. What are some of the things that they should be looking at? It gets them in that situation, and another thing is the misconception is that your accountant is supposed to tell you everything, what you're supposed to do. That's really not their job. And they don't know what to tell you until you ask them.
Okay.
And the returns, like the IRS returns, all those returns, people see it like, oh my God, this is like something that has to be done. And this is the right way to do it. And this is how it's designed. It's the perfect way, but I don't get it. Mm-hmm. No one gets tax returns. It is designed by the IRS for the IRS. They understand that crap.
They understand that crap.
I apologize. There will be a few words that are,
that's okay.
Not politically correct.
Mm-hmm. Because never mind, I won't say what I'm thinking. But yes, go ahead.
But that's what it is. It is none of us understand it, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a normal way of bookkeeping and stuff mm-hmm. like our own way of understanding bookkeeping and stuff like that. Right. So the way I break it down for my clients is I just categorize it as mm-hmm. if you were, you had like 10 different bags of chips and each bag, it has its own content and you know what it is at the moment you look at it. So that's how I organize that. Like you have this much going into salaries, you have this much going into marketing, you have this much going into your products or your research and development, whatever areas are, right? Like I'll look at the full picture, the bird's eye view of like, this is where your money is going. And mm-hmm. I will explain to them and I will ask them questions. Well, why is your expenses so high in this area? Mm-hmm. Can it be reduced down? Right. What's going on here? What can we do to improve this area? And then I also show them how to diversify their accounts because a lot of the times it's money coming in and money going out. And mm-hmm. they don't have a structure. So mm-hmm. what I mean by structure is they don't have an account set up for income tax or business taxes. They don't have an account dedicated for the future of the business, say development, or if they're growing, what are they going to need for the business? They're not mm-hmm. saving for it ahead of time, right? And they don't necessarily have a profit account. It's whatever is left over is what their profit is. But there isn't like a designated account like, okay, I'm going to collect in this account, the profits are going to collect. And they don't have an account set up for themselves. Like this is my compensation. This is how much I'm going to pay myself. This is how much I'm going to hurt myself. And that also needs to go into your personal side, right? So just breaking it down in pieces. It sounds like it's a lot, but when anything that you break down and you look at it piece by piece, it's easier to understand. And that's what I do. I take my time on educating them on piece by piece. And then we come up with a plan on, like, if there are multiple areas that need help, then I'm like, well, let's focus on one. What's the easiest thing that we can do right now that's going to help you increase your revenue and your profit?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really, really good because especially small businesses, they really don't always track things very well. They're so caught up in running the business that
Yes.
they don't take the time to actually, analyze the business, I guess, for lack of a better word. So
Exactly.
mhm,
And most of the businesses, if you really look at it, as they
mhm,
just take their hobby and turn it into a business.
mhm,
So they love the craft of it, like whatever
right,
their hobby is, they love doing that. But
right.
everything else, that's not their passion. They're gonna
Mhm.
try to make it happen, but it's not gonna be constructed well.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you really see that, like, especially with a lot of artists, a lot of creative people, they really love doing what it is they're doing, but they're not like show business. Show
Yes.
business is a business, but many
Yes.
times they're entertainers and all they're doing is doing whatever their craft is, like you said. That's a great
Mhm.
way to understand it. So as you were going through, developing your business yourself, what were some obstacles that you ran into, transitioning from being a business investigator for the state of California to becoming profit, pivot my profit.
Um, the challenges were actually me, myself, and I.
Yes, don't we know? Just if
Because
we would get out of our own way.
exactly. And I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. That was just not me. I was like, nope, I love getting a paycheck. I love clocking out at 5 o'clock. I like not having to stress about anything else. Receiving guaranteed money. Right?
Yep. Right.
I
Yep.
just got to show up. So, but it was the desire to help. It was
Okay.
the desire to take it to the next level and
Hmm.
be that person, like, okay, let me hold your hand and let me take you across the
Nice.
bridge. Let me help you
Nice.
figure this out a little bit, one step at a time, right? And
Nice.
that also, like, it made me I felt fulfilled. Like
Okay.
I was I was putting my talent, my expertise, my experience,
Hmm.
all that into place and helping someone else, really showing them how to make it happen. And
Hmm.
then it even evolved from there, because then I was all like, well, I would really love to help women who have
Okay.
gone through trauma, who have gone through just life beating them down. And they're
Hmm.
like, okay, I need to just get up. Someone, like, throw me a rope, like, and I'll do anything to get out of, like, wherever I am. I think we've all, majority of us have gone through something like that in our lifetime, where we just needed that sliver of hope, you know.
Hmm.
And so, and because I'm a financial coach and because I focus on money, it's not that different between, like, businesses and individuals. So what I then did was I created a financial literacy program for nonprofits that serve survivors of domestic violence and sexual
Wow.
abuse and sex trafficking. And so, because my mantra, just for my life, if my life was a business and I had a vision statement, it would say, anyone I meet, I want to leave them better than I found them. So I was like,
Mm.
well, I have all these experience, I have all this expertise and knowledge. How can I put it forward? So I created a whole program that I now teach at safe houses and even, like, Zoom calls and stuff. And that one, I start with financial trauma. And it's something that people have not really heard of, but it's
Hmm.
pretty much your life circumstances and events that has allowed you to create a certain type of relationship with money. Like, so fear, anxiety, all of that impacts our relationship with money, and then how we rebuild our lives, you know. And so that I love doing that part, because I get to work with these women and to be that hope for someone. And I remember what that felt like for me, someone just seeing me and being like, you know what, I'll help you. Here, this is what you need to do. And sometimes we just need that sliver of hope. So yeah,
Hmm.
so that's how kind of my business just evolved into itself. And the way I look at it, like I always say, like, from pain to purpose. If you keep seeing something, or if you've gone through something and it caused you pain and you see it in someone else and it hurts you to see it, then what can you do about it? So I'm like, okay, well, if I can impact one life out there, I'm living my purpose. So that's how it kind of evolved.
Nice, nice. And that terminology that you use, financial trauma, I've never heard that before. So that's a probably a really good description of how people relate to money. It can be traumatic.
Yes, it truly is, because most of the people actually have their relationship with money is fear.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even when they have a lot of money, there's always fear of losing it, not having enough, not being able to make the ends meet. So there's always fear around it, even in workplaces. I need to do whatever I need to do so I can get this paycheck, and
Right.
that also is like there are a lot of unhappy people in workplaces, and
Hmm.
it's we stick with it because money is a necessity, but we
Hmm.
don't have a loving relationship with money. And that's where
Hmm.
it kind of breaks down to, like, okay, if I don't have a relationship with something that I need, how can I have more of it? And so
Hmm.
then, and that's where we stop. Like, we put a block wall there, a concrete wall, and we don't go any further because
Hmm.
we have created this barrier that, okay, well, I don't have a relationship with money, I'm always going to be struggling or whatnot. We stop looking at ourselves. What are the opportunities that we can create by
Hmm.
ourselves for ourselves? Because
Hmm.
life gives us the tools that we need. Sometimes you just got to tweak it a little bit to take it a little further.
Hmm. Or we need someone like you to hold our hand so that we know what to do.
Yes, yes.
That's great. That is so great. So you've helped a lot of people that have gone through this financial trauma, and they've been both entrepreneurs as well as personal people just in their personal lives as well.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
individuals and businesses, because individually, the relationship that we have with money in our own lives, we carry that relationship with the finances in our businesses.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
and that impacts us. And if you really look at it, our personal life, there's income and then there's expenses. And
Hmm.
then there's the leftover that we call savings. And
Hmm.
business is the same thing.
Hmm.
There's income, there's expenses, and there's profit.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
both sides have products.
Hmm.
In our individual life, the product is us working for someone else.
Hmm.
In our business, the product or service is us working on the product or service in our business to grow our business.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So it's really not that different. It's
Hmm.
just how you look at it. And whatever relationship with money you have in your personal life, it's going to transfer into whatever you're trying to create. So it's very important to go to the root cause of it and
Hmm.
improve that first.
Okay. And so what kind of technique or method do you use to help, your clients get to, okay, what is my relationship with money and how do I fix it, for lack of a better
Okay,
word?
that's a great question, because financial trauma, people usually think, oh, it's just childhood, but it's life, period. So, for example, like poverty can be childhood, right? Like you moved countries, or you were brought here, like you were an immigrant, your parents worked around the clock, there's poverty, right? An example of the relationship that poverty creates, there's two sides. One is, if you're so used to having none, then it doesn't really make a difference to you that you don't have any. So these, what they do is, like, their behavior then becomes that, oh, everything that I earn, I'm
Mhm.
gonna get the necessities, but whatever is left over, I'm going to get my wants with it because I could never afford my want as a child or as a whenever, right?
Right.
So there's no savings, there's none of that because you are so used to not having anything. Like the poverty is continuing even though you have income coming in, right?
Right.
And
Okay.
you can have income and still be in poverty.
Right.
And then the
Because
other
you have a
side
poverty
is,
mindset.
yes. And then another side is where you that's what drives the fear of poverty, right? You never want to be in poverty again. So you work hard, you build, but then also it doesn't matter how much you have, it's never enough because you are constantly fearing poverty.
Okay.
So those are the two ways, like it affects your behavior, your mindset, and all of that. And then when I talk to my clients, I do tell them, your environment, your life circumstances, like divorce, bankruptcy, having a business and losing money in business, losing money in the stock market and housing, trusting someone to do something like a financial advisor or a friend who tells you to put your money somewhere, it's going to give you a huge return and you end up losing it. Now, all of a sudden, you don't trust yourself because you see yourself as making wrong money decisions. You don't trust the right people. You don't know how to make the right decision on money. So now you're hard on yourself. And that, again, that's a fearful relationship, right? So, yeah, stuff from life and even economy and the society and all of that, it all exists. When we don't know enough about something and we don't know how it affects us, we don't take action to change it. So the economy itself, how does it affect us individually? Like different countries have different traumas. Like Ukraine has a war right now, and us, we're fine. In 2020, our economy was booming in a way, like the stock market was going up, even though we had COVID, we were all shut down. But then, when we were coming out of COVID, then Ukraine is a war zone now. So their financial trauma from that part, it's going to be passed on from generation to generation because they fled, they lost everything that they worked hard for and built. And here in the new year, they post-COVID, they had hope, and that was taken away. So it just depends, like what's happening around you and how it impacts you personally is going to determine your relationship with money. So then when I talk to my clients, I ask them like where they're from, what their life experiences and stuff like that. And then I have them determine their own relationship with money. Is it their own, or is it something that's been passed down to them?
Right.
The mindsets, like from our families. Like one of the common one that we always hear is money is the root cause of all evil. And we continue to believe that until we start to question why does this narrative exist, we're never going to know how it identifies with us.
Yeah, and that's actually a misquote from the Bible, because it's not. If you read that quote, because people just take part of it, but it's the love of money is the root of all evil, which basically is saying if you make money your god, which people do, that is what's going to cause you a lot of angst, as you just said. That could be traumatic because you fear if you don't have it, and then you fear that you're going to lose it if you do have it.
Yes. And then it also, like, I see money as just energy, right? And I tell people, like, if money was a person, what would your relationship be with money? How will you define it? Will you treat it with fear? Will you be like, no, I don't want you? Or like you will, if it was a person and you needed that person, you will treat them with love, respect, right? Your relationship will be different. But we treat it like, no, I fear you, I don't want you around. Well, then how are you going to get more of it?
What I like about what your program offers is it seems like it's not just about giving people the tools to do something, but it also has like a therapeutic kind of part to it. Can you kind of tell us how you it seems like you kind of use little therapy to help people get through this?
Yes, I do. And that is very, very important because money is really like the financial freedom that we seek, it's an emotional and educational relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
We have emotional attachment to money, and we have educational attachment to money. Like, we want to learn more about it, but where do you go? Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not taught in school. Financial literacy is not a course for 6, 7, 8 graders. You get a job at 16 and you get a $200,000 loan at before you even start college with no income. I mean, how does that work? Right? Like,
Right.
no one
True.
tells you like how to make an educated decision about it. And then,
Mm-hmm.
you graduate college and then you hate your job because now you're out in the field, and then but you can't quit and you can't go back to college because you have a student loan that costs the same amount as a house, and you're probably going to be paying the same amount as a mortgage on a student loan, God knows for how long.
Right. Right.
But if
Yeah.
there was education, and we showed people that money is a tool that
Right.
solves a lot of problems for you and for yourself. And I
Mm-hmm.
asked them, like, if you're trying to create something, you got to create it with love,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's money, and you got to do it with gratitude. And how
Mm-hmm.
are you going to, and the joy part in my statement is that if you are constantly stressed about money,
Mm-hmm.
there is no joy in that money.
No.
And even when you
True.
give it to someone, there is no, that you are transferring not a joyful energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
you create it with happiness, if you feel joy around it, you'll be able to create it easily.
Nice.
And because we have the fear of it, then it's always like, just work as hard as you can, all this overtime that you can get, and you'll do better, you know but it's not. You may get a little bit more, but it's not going to stay because there's no love. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nothing is going to stay in a place where there's no love.
What a great way to look at money. Money you have to love. You have to know how to create a love relationship with it. I like that. So so what would you tell a business owner or someone who's thinking about starting a business, kind of like right now in this post-pandemic era that we're transitioning into? What would be a bit of advice that you might give them?
Clarity. If
Okay.
I can describe it in one word, it will be clarity. Why are you wanting to go in this business?
Okay.
What's your big why? Is it
Okay.
you yourself, or is the big why you're trying to solve a problem for others?
Mhm.
Why are you, and what is driving you? Are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for someone else? Like, my big why is my son and my parents.
Mhm.
And the reason is because I'm the only child. I had a sibling. My brother passed away when he was 20 years old. So
Oh,
my
sorry.
my parents are my responsibility, and my son is my responsibility. So I am creating. My goal is to create a future where neither of them have to worry about money. If my
Nice.
parents need me, I want to be able to say, "I got you. I'll
Nice.
support you. I'll take care of you." Right. And my son, same thing. I'll support you to build you into this man where you are able to build for yourself. And for
Mhm.
myself, I don't want to rely on anyone else.
Mhm.
I want to be able to rely on myself. Right.
Mhm.
So I have to figure it out. What are the different ways that I can create it? But I'm aligning it with my passion. I love helping people. And that was, my prayer. God, let me help people. But I don't want to be broke doing it. I want to feed
Right.
myself, help someone else.
Right.
And my
Right.
and I'm always like, okay, if I have what I want and what I need, I I am going to share it. I'm going to give it
Mhm.
to those who don't have it. So every
Mhm.
month I donate to 3 different charities. And for
Nice.
like my birthday, my parents' birthday, my son's birthday, I pick like different charities, and whatever I'm going to spend on them, I just donate it. Someone else, may
Nice.
someone else's child be fed, may another family, because you don't know what put them in those situations. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping women who have gone through violence and sex
Mhm.
trafficking and abuse and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
and it brings me joy that I'm able to share, that I'm
Mhm.
able to, because everyone is not equal. Everyone is we try to measure everyone on the same stick. Like, if I'm able to create it, why aren't you able to create it?
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it works. Everyone has their own challenges. Some people
Right.
overcome it easier, some people are stronger. I mean, I'm someone who was bullied, who went through suicidal thoughts and tried to take my own life, been through abuse and been molested and all those things, right? But if I did not seek to find myself, and if
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't my driver to want to help other people, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And so when you are starting your business, have your why very clear and know
Mm-hmm.
exactly why you're doing it. And then the rest of it is the technical part of it. Figure it out. What is your vision? What is your marketing? What is the market you're going after? Right. And be flexible, because sometimes the vision that you start with, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to change.
Mm-hmm.
You may
Okay.
be like, oh, I want to bake cupcakes and I'm really good at it, so I'm
Uh-huh.
going to do this. But then you may figure out that I actually really love animals, so maybe my business can be baking birthday cakes for pets. Like, you just never know. But that's how you find your niche. Like, find
Uh-huh.
out what you really love and
Mm-hmm.
really prepare yourself. Like, have a business plan. It's like a manual. You may not look at it every day, but it's there at the back of your mind. You will have that clarity. This is my focus. This is the revenue I'm going for. This is what my marketing needs. This is how I need to look at my finances. And you got to do it every month. Make
Mm-hmm.
time for it. Yeah, so that's one advice that I will, well, it's like a list of it, but that's what I will tell them. At the if it's just one word, it's clarity in all those different areas: your passion, your big why, money, clarity, and where you're going with
Wow. Great, 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 great information. Well, I always end my podcast by asking my guests to give my audience three things. One thing that would educate them, one thing that would motivate them, and one thing that would inspire them. And quite honestly, this whole interview has been motivating, inspiring, and educational. So I'm not sure if you can give me like one of each, but give it a shot.
it. Oh gosh. I just want to say that life is truly beautiful. And we have gone through some tough times, and people who are going to be listening to this, there may be some people who are going through some tough times.
Hmm.
Just slow down, pause for a moment, and just look at the full picture
Hmm.
and readjust. Because maybe it's seeking your attention and wanting to see something, wanting you to readjust. And we can't do it if we don't slow down. So have grace with yourself. Gratitude is huge for me, like everyone that I meet. And that's my intention too. Like, when I meet people, I'm like, God, send me people that I need in my life, who are going to add more value in me, who are going to teach me something that I don't know. And my clients, same thing. I always tell them they are my teachers, because they keep me humble. Yes, they think I'm helping them, but they're really helping me to get a more understanding of life, because everyone's experience is different.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
that's all I can say at this moment. But yeah, just gratitude is huge for me.
Okay, that sounds good. That's motivating and inspiring. And the education piece, I think you really gave earlier when you said make sure you have clarity about what it
Yes.
is you're trying to do when you're growing or even thinking about starting a business. Have clarity about all these different areas before you get started or as you're moving along in your business. Well, one other thing, you told me this one story that this is before when we talked about the lady that was like 90 years old and you were volunteering at the hospice. Can you tell my audience that? I thought that was so beautiful.
Yes, yes, yes. So I did tell you that I volunteer for hospice, and that is, I love that. And that started about because I was just like, I need to learn more about life. I'm young, but I don't want to figure it out when I'm old because I may run out of time.
Hmm.
So like, I gotta figure it out. And I'm like, I don't want to learn from books. I want to learn it from those who have lived it. So I
Mm-hmm.
did my training and I started to volunteer for hospice. And my patient was this 90-year-old woman, and she was so amazing, and we would I had such a hard time getting on her schedule because her schedule was so full. And I used to tell her, I'm like, gosh, you have more of a exciting life than I do. And I'm like, you don't even leave your bed. And she's all like, no, Priya, that's not true. And I'm like, it is true. I'm like, I'm working hard. I'm always busy with all this stuff, And I'm like, and here I'm trying to find space to put myself on your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I noticed was that all these people that would come visit her, they like, so me and her, we had our 2 days where, so she was my dinner date for Wednesdays every night. Either she will tell me what she wants me to bring or what she wants me to cook. So I will take it and we'll eat together. And that was our thing. And then on Saturdays, it'll be the same thing. I'll go see her around like lunchtime or dinner time. And she loved food. She was a foodie. And we'll talk about life and all that stuff. And she was just so loved. There were people who came to see her every day. And I was all like, and she's all like, yeah, I have no money, but I don't know, I'm not rich. I don't know why everyone comes. I'm like, oh my God, like really, you can't be that humble. And I'm like, you're such a beautiful spirit. Like she truly cared about people. And that's why they were there. They
Right.
were
Yep.
going to miss her. So they're like, I don't want to miss any chance to not be with her. And I was
Nice.
like, gosh, that's the true definition of rich. She is so rich. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many people who die alone. And I was like, I want to be like that when I grow old. And I was like, if I was 85 years old, 90 years old right now, and I was in my own deathbed, and what would I want the reel of my life to look like? Would it be
Mm-hmm.
something that I want to watch over and over again? And
Mm-hmm.
it was funny. So I did this exercise with myself and I looked at my life like from now and past. And I was all like, oh gosh, I haven't really done anything. There's like nothing exciting that I would watch. I visualized my life, like what do I want my life, that movie to look like when I'm at 90? And I
Mm-hmm.
just worked backwards. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do all those things now. I want to live every day. I want to live with more joy, more excitement. And it really completely changed my life. Even like on bad days, there's always something to be grateful for, something
Yes.
to be happy about. Because this woman, she was in pain. She couldn't get out of her bed, but she always had her smile on her face. And
That's
that was just
wonderful.
beautiful. And
Yes.
people loved her. I'm like, I want to be that rich like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Priya, thank you so much. This was such a great interview, great podcast. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as
Oh,
I
yes,
did.
yes.
And I believe that you really brought a lot of value to my audience. And how can everyone get in touch with you? Please let them know, let everyone know.
Yes, for sure. So you can actually find me on social media on LinkedIn. It's my first and last name, Priya Kumar. And on Instagram and TikTok, it's profitcoach.priya. And my website is www.pivotmyprofit.com. And it even has a link on there to schedule a 30-minute complimentary session with me. It has a profit calculator if you want to just go in there and play around with it because you don't want anyone to know your finances.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so that's how you can get in touch with me. I also have published a gratitude journal, and it's actually a guided gratitude journal, and it starts with gratitude, um, actions towards my goals. So I like to break it down. So it's like small actions that I'm taking, and then it has visualization, and self-care is huge for me. There's a section for prayer because sometimes if I'm having a bad day, I'll write a prayer for myself. I'm praying for
Nice.
strength today. Or if I
Nice.
lose someone, if I hear someone has passed on, then I'm praying to just heal my heart
Hmm.
from this
Hmm.
pain, and the
Nice.
other people too. And so
Mhm.
yeah, so if anyone wants like just to try that out, send me an email and I will email you like a 5-day journal. for you to test it out and whatnot. And you can find all this information on my website.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody jumps on that website. Take good care, and hopefully I'll have you on another time to, just maybe talk some more about your gratitude journal and some other things that you're doing besides the coaching for profit.
Yeah, for sure. And if anyone, like anyone who listens to this, if they have questions, and if you get like a lot of questions about money and financial trauma, relationship with money, or how to even set financial goals, budgeting, or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can do like a Q&A session. So anyone who's
Great.
tuning in, whenever you're listening, just type in your questions and send it to
That
Vera.
sounds great. That sounds great. Yes, and I'll have Priya on and she can answer all the questions. I'll
Yes,
just be the
yes.
moderator.
I love talking about money.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.